In the meantime, former House of Representatives Speaker Yakubu Dogara and the Majority Leader of the Fifth Assembly, Molikata Konde Adeola, have both called on their colleagues not to sit on the fence with the vast experiences they have garnered over the years. They insisted that people who once served in the National Assembly are in vantage position to offer contributions to keep the government in check. Dogara and Akonde spoke at the House of Representatives Reunion 2024. The former House leaders believe former lawmakers are a resource base for the country should be plugged for the good of Nigeria. At the event, which brought together former legislators and key stakeholders, reflected on Nigeria's democratic journey and explored ways to strengthen the nation's democratic foundations for the future.
As part of the leadership in this country and the role we had played at one point or the other, it is high time for us to come together, because nation building is about what each of us can do individually and what we can do collectively. And sometimes we're tempted to think it's just about the government, the president, the governors, the local government chairman, what they're doing. No, it is what we as individuals and we, in conjunction with others, can do for our nation.
We're a group of people who have been in all the constituencies in Nigeria. We're in touch with our people, very knowledgeable people amongst us and all that. I don't think we should leave that to die. I expect that we should be the ones holding government to account.
Over the years, Nigeria had produced legislators in both the Senate and the House of Representatives. So they are resource base for the nation. And this is not a resource you want to wish away. When you have resources, you want to tap on those resources. And so a gathering of these parliamentarians who have been on from the 60s when we had our first republic, that is still enduring, becomes very important. You bring them together to share, compare notes, and I think essentially, how do we deepen the growth of democracy? I think that's what this is all about.
Security and democracy are moving together. They are twin brothers and twin sisters. So, as democracy is moving, what supports it is security. Without security, there will be no democracy. So, that's what I told them. So, they should carry security along in everything they're doing. Nigeria is practicing democracy. That's why the security is good.
And now Dr. Amadi is here to look at this new effort by PDP governors and leaders to address the crisis and the party. Dr. Amadi is the director of the School of Social and Political Thought. Thank you so much for joining us. Speak to us about this meeting, especially the emergency meeting convened in Jos. I mean, critical stakeholders and the PDP are calling for, National Executive Council meeting by February. Remember, it was postponed from November 28. So how critical is this new date? When you look at this date, would you say it's a matter of necessity, or it's a matter of buying time to heal internal divisions?
Well, I think, interestingly, this NEC, which is a simple thing to do, has been postponed almost repeatedly. And the last postponement, one would ask first, how could the burial of the wife of the governor be fixed on a date that NEC had been fixed? So is that oversight? Is that a deliberate cancellation? So, the NEC is something that should be in the calendar, and the governor would know, everybody would know. And so the fact that this date conflicts could be a very extreme form of oversight, or one could read, cynically that this could be basically designed. I don't know, but the point is that it should be unusual. The two parties should know that this is a date and therefore walk away from it. That's number one. Number two is that you can see that that meeting called was a response to that notice from the NWC, cancelling this and saying future dates. So basically, what is happening here is stalling, clearly. From the NWC perspective, they don't want this to happen. What is very simple. As long as the ESCO, the acting chairman, and the team continues to work, the team that seems to be having upper hand, which in my view is the Wike team, in terms of keeping the game as it is, will still have upper hand. So this NEC is is being forced to create a reset. And it looks like the NWC and other stakeholders probably are kicking the can down the road. So now, what this meeting seems to do is to say, look, yeah, we know we can't go against, we can't say we must have it because in the light of the conflict with a key member of this forum who has his dear wife lost and burial. But then, we don't leave it to NWC telling us when next. We have to benchmark them and say, between now and February, this is Christmas, we're going to Christmas, then let's say New Year, people resume late. So you should be able to do all the, put the documents together, get everything done, and get set for February. This must happen. Now, this is not, one could be cynical and say, well, they could kick the can down the road. But what all this suggests really is that this party is in a state of stalemate in terms of power configuration. The governors forum don't seem to be willing or able or desirous of really forcing a closure here, because, my word, unwilling, unable, the way the forces are arrayed.
Right.
And maybe pushing too much would result in some kind of conflagration that doesn't serve them well. And again, some realism that really they don't have all it takes to get things done. It's strange. PDP worked itself here since 2015. Let's not forget. Sheriff came, and the problem was that when Obasanjo left power and fell out with Yaradua, he walked away. At a point, thought his certificate, thought his membership became somewhat antagonistic to the party. I saw when APC leaders met him and said, "You're a navigator." Jonathan lost election, and of course walked away. Didn't fight the party, but basically not getting that party together. And so he fell on a few governors, notably Governor Wike, to shoulder the responsibility. What I see now is the fact that the PDP leadership has been very responsible. I don't mean those who are leading now, or true, in not investing in creating a real party leadership. And so Wike paid the piper, and basically the party is in disarray now because Wike himself, his political future lies in sustaining the APC government. And so you have an oddity of the leading figure in the PDP, the influencer, the man who has made, to fair to him, the biggest sacrifice, the biggest investment, and seemingly control most of it, being a man who is disposed to the political triumph of the president of a different party. I mean, that's basic subliminal conflict and contradiction.
Many believe that the PDP is playing into the hands of APC with some of the recent crises rocking the party, internal wranglings. I mean, we just heard that, the one in Kogi State as well. But some people say the reason why we're having this problem, political pundits and some analysts like you have said, until Damago leaves the party. So the party may not be able to forge ahead except that happens. So it's the PDP under constraint, to fix its own crack. How important is Damago's position in the party? Because as we know, they are saying until he leaves before the party can forge ahead. Do you agree with that position?
Of course, it's just like equivalent of Labour Party. I mean, you can say different intensity. Everybody will say until Abure leaves. The easiest thing, the best thing is for Damago to leave, but the more difficulty for him to leave. That's the problem. I mean, it's very clear. If he leaves, then the other forces could create, for example, if he leaves now, the power moves to North Central, and so some of the key people being lined up could be people who have some distance from the conflicts they had with clearly Wike plus Secheyi Makinde and Atiku and the rest on this side. That's what it is all about, okay? So if Damago leaves, then there's a triumph. The power has shifted. Wike has lost control of the NWC as it were. Then it goes back to a rematch. So what comes out of it will be more legitimate in terms of, by the way, he's acting, and he was filling a space that belonged to North Central, okay? Now, if he gets shoving away, steps out, then you can reformat and recreate the party. So the answer is yes, Damago should leave. But the problem is, how do you get him out? How do you throw him out? Now, he keeps on kicking the can, refusing to convey a meeting where that conclusion can be arrived. Don't forget that there was actually a meeting that couldn't complete, where they said, okay, at the next we'll give them some time. Okay, we'll come. Now it's now February. So in February, maybe a new spanner in the work. The courts are there to be used sometimes. So,
right.
so we like that. The basic problem, the solution is simple,
Yeah.
but getting to that solution is the most difficult.
Let's look at few issues before I let you go. We do know that the issue with Damagun-led leadership, that's one. But there are all other arguments which says that perhaps the PDP doesn't even know his own challenge. Perhaps they are not even aware of their own challenge. Or maybe they are running away from it. So what do you think, are some of the steps that they need to take, concrete steps, to fix their own problem ahead of, 2027 election? Don't forget that the race has begun.
Of course. That's the problem. PDP never gets to work until primary. So the PDP is designed to respond to primary. Who becomes governor? Who becomes president? So right from when Obasanjo stepped down, okay, Jonathan was defeated. You don't have a functional party that tries to organize itself. And this is some of the advice we gave in 2015 after they lost election. Before primary, before you start talking about presidential candidates, start building the party. So today, there's no leadership in the party in the sense of somebody who is not a candidate for election. So if you're not an Atiku, and you're not Makinde, who brings a phantom ambition now, in my view, or a Wike, who wanted to be president through PDP, but now wants to make sure maybe somebody else doesn't become. There is no leadership. So the party needed to have a leader who is not necessarily running for election. So if they had a national leader, a national chairman, who was substantive, legitimate, and who can put the party together, they now start building the structure. Look at, they've lost a series of elections, okay? Except where they have incumbency, maybe Osun, is not Osun, yes, Osun may prove different. But they're looking like they will lose almost everything because the party is in disarray. Some of the leaders are opting out. Some of them are not playing. Somebody like Emeke Hedioha, who has been at the beginning and left the party because it looks like total disarray. It looks like a party that will fragment irretrievably towards primary. So it looks like some of these leaders are actually bidding their time to move out and shape something else. So I think that the crisis of PDP, like I said, when Obasanjo lost power, he left the party and organized the party. Jonathan lost power, moved away. Nobody sat back to build the party who is not somebody who is working hard for a ticket. And that's what they are. So they are polarized where Atiku, Wike, and there's nobody to build the party. There's no unifying, converging form. And PDP doesn't look like it actually wants to win election. The leaders want to be president, but the party itself don't seem like a party that's interested first and foremost to defeat a very vulnerable APC government. But as it is, they are making APC, almost have for conclusion in 2027.
Okay, clearly, the PDP stands at crossroads right now, and they will need critical decisions ahead of the 2027 election. Thank you so much, Dr. Sam Amadi, Rise Analyst, Director of the School of Social and Political Thought. Thank you for coming on the News Night.
Thank you.